Hey everybody, Derek here again. I'm here to bring you another video for our Walking Dead countdown to the season 5 premiere. We are exactly 62 days away from the premiere. We're getting closer. And in order to help us count down, I'm going to be doing some videos in order to give us some topics of discussion, look back at some of the things of the past 4 seasons and to look at what they have ahead for us in season 5. And tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my thoughts on, will the group try to find Beth in season 5? As we know, Beth has gone missing after the season 4 episode Alone, and while we as viewers know, kinda, know where she's at, the rest of the group doesn't. And I'll be interested to see if her loss will play a factor in their decision making this season. So again, if you are not caught up yet on Walking Dead, there may be spoilers, so if you are not caught up, please do not watch the video. Come back at a later time when you're caught up. Okay, so again, I'm going to analyze whether the group will try to look for Beth this season. Now, the group has everybody except for at this point Carol, Tyrese, and Beth have now all gathered at Terminus. They are now in the boxcar. And as we can tell with the way the trailer is looking, we know for a fact that Carol, Tyrese, and Judith are going to meet up with Rick's group. Now, whether that's going to happen at Terminus or whether they're just going to happen to run into them, we don't know yet. But we know that they are going to be meeting back up together. However, as we know in the trailer, Beth is at some other place. And it looks to either be like a hospital or a police barracks, or might be a combination of the two. And it almost looks like, she's, being held captive. She's being made to, do some things that she may or may not want to do. And it's all looking as like a, experiment, stuff like that. I'm going to do a later video on what I think the people that are holding Beth are doing in order to analyze what's going on. Because I think there's a lot going on there, and I think it's important to analyze that. I just want to do that a little bit closer to the premiere, so that way it's a little bit fresh in people's minds. Now, the group before has gone out and tried to find other members. If you remember back in season 2, when Sophia went missing, the group did try to look for her. They spent a lot of time going out and searching the nearby area. They were very fortunate to run into Herschel at his farm, and basically they were using that as a base of operations. They were relatively safe. Carl was recovering from his gunshot wound. T-Dog was recovering from his cut. And then eventually, you had other characters like Daryl had to recover after the events in Chupacabra. But they had a place to stay. And there's a lot of differences between then and where we're at now. Because when they were looking for Sophia, they really didn't have any concerns other than the walkers. And knowing that they had to find her because she's, just a little girl. And I think that because of the fact that it was a little girl, Sophia, and also because of the fact that there was nothing else going on at the time, like they were just staying there with the goal of trying to find Sophia. And I think that also the circumstances were a bit different because Sophia was basically on the run, at least that's what they thought. You realize that Sophia is approximately an 11 to 13-year-old girl, and she really doesn't have the capabilities of going a long distance. And normally kids don't do that. Like if kids are lost, they're not going to usually be found, 100 miles away, depending on the circumstances. And I think that it would have been conceivable that Sophia would have been either somewhere in the woods or in some location, based on her experience as a child. Like she probably would have found a place to hide and hoped that the group would come look for her, which they tried to. But of course, as we know, she ended up being bitten by a walker at some point, became a walker, and was then thrown in the barn, which they later discovered when they broke open the barn in season 2. Now, I feel like now what we have is Rick's group, is going to be on their way to Washington. And obviously they're going to need to get ready for that trip. So they're going to be raiding places for supplies. Like I think we see that in the trailer, that there were walkers in like this like almost like where these canned goods and other food supplies were. So I think they were raiding that area in order to get some supplies for the trip, because you're obviously going to need a lot of supplies in order to get from Georgia to Washington, especially in a zombie apocalypse. You can't just pull over to the side of the road and go in the the sheets anymore. You have to you have to go in and find your stuff, and including gas. How are you going to find all that fuel plus a vehicle? There's a lot of things that they need to do in order to be ready for the trip, and I feel like they have that against them at this point. Plus, the other thing is, part of me wonders if they may give up Beth for dead. Daryl obviously saw what happened. He saw that Beth was taken away in a car after that mortuary / funeral home was taken over by the walkers that broke in, and we really don't know where Beth's gone. Now, if I had to make my best prediction, I think that Beth is probably within a 20-mile radius of that area, but despite that, it's like looking for a needle in a stack of needles. You're looking for the one that has the red dot on it, something like that. You don't have the time in a zombie apocalypse to go door to door. Beth, where are you at? You just don't have that opportunity. And I think that part of me wonders if they're going to give Beth up for dead. That they're just going to think, well, she was taken and probably was taken by some bad people, and what are the chances that she's still alive? I don't know. And I think that maybe that might be the consensus of the group. Plus, the other thing is I do predict that the Terminus people and Rick's group are eventually going to, have a falling out, and they're not going to be together. I don't think this is going to be a simple, hey, let's get together and go to Washington. I think it's a lot more complicated than that. And I think that because of the fact that they may be in danger with these Terminus people, you really can't be doing a rescue mission staying around in the area trying to look for Beth. I don't think that it's very possible to do that while they're being chased by the people at Terminus. So based on where we're at right now, I would say that no, I don't think that they're going to try to find Beth, despite how much it may hurt a character like Maggie or Daryl or Glenn maybe, because Beth is definitely somebody that has connections in the group. Daryl's definitely going to feel responsible for what happened, not being able to protect Beth, and then of course it's Maggie's sister. And I kind of felt like it was weird because, like, all that last season, the second part of season 4, Maggie was so focused on looking for Glenn that she kind of forgets about Beth. And I was thinking about, well, wouldn't she be looking for everybody? Not realizing that Beth is not on the bus, because she went on the prison bus to check, knowing that she's not there. Did she just forget about her? Did she feel that she was safe? And I'm kind of hoping they bring that up, because I think she's going to be wondering, well, here's everybody else coming. Where's Beth? Did any of you guys see Beth? What happened? Because you have a lot of questions. They didn't think each other was alive, and now that you're starting to see more members of the group coming to Terminus, you're starting to realize that more people are alive, and I think that some questions are going to be asked about that. So I don't think that Beth is going to be forgotten. And I predict that one of two things is going to happen. Either A, they're going to somehow come across a clue of where Beth's at. Because again, if you remember not in the trailer, excuse me, in the episode Alone, Beth is taken away in a car that has a cross on the back of it. Okay. Now you may associate that with Father Gabriel. And for all we know, it may be Father Gabriel's vehicle. It very may well be. And if it is, and they make it to the church, and they realize, Daryl gets there, he goes, wait a minute, I've seen that car before. That's the car that took Beth. You throw Father Gabriel against the wall, where's our, group member? I think that if that is Father Gabriel's car, and it is at the church, I think that can be like the avenue that they take in order to help find Beth. Because once they see that, they're going to realize that, Beth is out there somewhere, and they're going to want some answers, and Father Gabriel may have those answers. So that's option one. Option two may be that the groups of Terminus and these people that have Beth are connected somehow, and somehow they're gonna come, everything's gonna come to a head, and Beth's gonna, run back into the group that way, not necessarily intentionally, but just that, hey, that's just the way that things work. The Walking Dead has had a lot of, various points where these characters have intersected with each other throughout the series, that they were very lucky to run into each other. And that's just the way it works sometimes. So I think that might be the case. Do I think that the group is going to see Beth again? Without a doubt, yes. I don't think that they're just going to let that storyline just go, dead. I think that we're going to see what's going on with Beth, but I think that eventually some members of the group are going to run into Beth. Whether all of them will, I don't know. That they may go that route too, where only certain members of the group will run into her. But I think that no matter what, somehow, some way, these groups are going to get back together. Because we know that Carol, Tyrese, and Judith are going to run into the group at some point. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to close that storyline, or at least bring Beth back. I mean, because they're either going to kill her off this season, or they're going to make her, or they're going to reintegrate her back into the group. It's going to be one or the other. I don't know yet which one. I did predict that maybe Beth will die this season, just based on the fact that I feel like they've done a lot with her character, and also taking into consideration that Beth might fade into the background getting into the Alexandria safe zone. So I think that there's a lot of different options. I don't think that the group, again, is going to necessarily go out there and make finding Beth a top priority, but I think that if the storyline comes through, they get the clue that's needed. Like if they see that car that took Beth, I think that then they will get more serious. They will start to realize Beth's alive, and then they will go after her. But it really just depends on the circumstances, in my opinion. But I'm going to bring this video to a close. I again want to thank you all for watching. If you want, please subscribe. I have a lot more coming for these next 62 days, plus even after The Walking Dead starts. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Feel free to leave video topics. I will give you credit for anything that you suggest to me. And I just want to thank everybody again who has already subscribed. Tell your friends, tell people out there that I'm here to give out information about Walking Dead. I'm very passionate about the show. I have a lot of great ideas, a lot of thoughts, and I'd really like to share them with everybody. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you again.